welcome back to the Wandering Star Farmhouse. My name is Jeanette and today is August 25th, the 25th day of the Every Bit Counts Preserving Challenge. And it is hot outside, but I'm gonna be preserving something hot today. I'm gonna pick some chili peppers and make hot sauce for my husband. Could do some weeding while I'm here. Ugh. Ugh. Okay, these ones are, let's see, chili red hot peppers. Let's see what else we can find. This is my jalapeno plant, and I do have some jalapenos that I'm going to add too. Now I purposefully let these ones ripen all the way and turn red so that I could make red hot sauce with them. Today is August 26th and I did not finish my hot sauce yesterday, but that's okay. I actually did work on tomato sauce yesterday and got 6 more pints of tomato sauce. So I did get some preserving in, but I didn't finish the hot sauce. And I'm actually not working on the hot sauce today either, but I promise I'm gonna get to it in this video, in this week. So I'll get back to the hot sauce, but today I had more tomatoes that I had to deal with. And so I'm making more tomato sauce, which this is my 5th batch of tomato sauce. It's tomato season. But I decided to mix things up this time and turn it into barbecue sauce. So one of my sons especially really loves barbecue sauce. So I thought it'd be fun to turn this batch of sauce into barbecue sauce. This is my new to me roaster. And it's something I had been talking to my husband about. And we saw it at this garage sale across the street. And I was like, you know, it would be really helpful for tomato sauce. And I've seen people use it for large batches of broth as well. And we were kind of just sitting on it, thinking about it. And then I remembered the next project that I have. You'll see it coming up tomorrow in this video. But when I remembered that I had that project that could use the roaster also, we decided to go back and pick up this roaster from the garage sale. I am throwing in some onions, green pepper, and celery. I am using the recipe from the National Center for Home Preservation, or whatever that's called. So I'm gonna add some garlic and mustard and paprika at this point. And then I also need to add some canning salt. And I hit a momentous moment. I used my entire 3-pound bag of pickling and canning salt. I bought this a long time ago. This is how much canning and fermenting I've done. 3 pounds of salt worth. So I also added brown sugar, vinegar, and now I am going to blend it all with the immersion blender. Immersion blenders are really useful. You just have to remember the key word is immersion. If you pull them out in the middle of when you have it turned on, you're gonna get sprayed with hot liquid. All right, I'm gonna call this a night. It has boiled down quite a bit and is looking very saucy. But I'm gonna go ahead and just leave it overnight, let it evaporate a little bit more. I'll turn it off the heat, obviously. But let it evaporate a little bit more, jar this up tomorrow. Folks, sometimes there's just not words. This was so frustrating. Obviously, I left this pot unattended for too long the next day and destroyed my sauce. So I decided to see if it was salvageable, and I scraped off the top layer and went ahead and made lemonade out of lemons. I cooked up some homemade buns, cooked up some ground beef, and we made sloppy joes. And you know, it didn't taste too bad. It was pretty concentrated flavor, like the vinegar and stuff was pretty strong because of how far it had boiled down, but it wasn't bad. So I did go ahead and scrape off some more off the top, and I just went ahead and put that in a jar and put it straight into the fridge because it wasn't worth canning up at this point. But you know, the thing that's the most disappointing about this is not just wasting food, but when I have grown through my own sweat and labor all the food that went into making this sauce and then I ruin it, it just hurts that much more. So moving on to happier thoughts. The day before, we actually had gone out to a friend's house and picked apples on their apple tree. They had already picked 14 gallons of apples from their tree, and the branches were breaking, and so they had us come over and just try and strip the rest of the tree clean. Honestly, we did not get the tree stripped. We left tons of apples behind, and we came home with probably 300 pounds of apples. So today, Sunday, the 27th, we got started working on a batch of applesauce. And we have a lot of these apple core peelers that are really fun for the kids.
Oh, I can smell it. It smells good.
Today is Monday, August 28th, and today I am taking some of this. There was just a little bit of leftover applesauce from the batch I canned up yesterday, and I've decided to try and make some fruit leather in my dehydrator. So my dehydrator came with these two fruit leather trays that are really nice. They have a raised edge to kind of keep things in. But I have a little bit more applesauce left over than that. So I'm going to try and just dry some on parchment paper and just put that on a rack and see how it goes. So I'm putting the fruit leather in for 155 degrees for about 12 hours. The fruit leather on the parchment paper was done first, and it peeled off okay. I had a couple spots that ripped the parchment paper a little bit, but I'm going to slice these up into kind of fruit roll-up size and roll them up and get it into a jar. So fruit leather is done when it's no longer like sticky to the touch, but it still needs to be like kind of flexible like this. You should be able to bend it without it just cracking and breaking. If you over dry it, it's still fine to eat it. It's just like a little less pleasant. It's just a little more chewy to eat it. And the fruit leather that was in the trays, when I was peeling it off, I could tell that it still had a couple wet areas. And I remember now that it's a good idea actually to flip your fruit leather on these trays as soon as it's dry enough to do that. So I had to flip over the fruit leather on the trays and let them finish. Both of the fruit leather trays just had a kind of a more wet spot. And that could just be because I maybe poured it on thicker on the fruit leather trays too. But those were finished up by the end of the day, and I got them into jars and ended up with 2 jars with 16 apple fruit leather rolls for my kids to snack on. Also this night, I got my cheese wheel that's been drying on the counter that I made in my last video and got it vacuum sealed up. So now it is going to go in my cool fridge that's not my coldest fridge, and it's going to age for a couple of months. Today is Tuesday, August 29th, and I have called in the reinforcements. I thought, I don't know if I have the mental fortitude to go through all these apples by myself. So basically I texted everyone that I know and said, who wants to come make applesauce sometime this week? Because I'm going to be making applesauce all week long. So I have some friends coming over this morning and friends coming over tomorrow, and we're all just going to sit around. I've got apple peeler cores set up, and I got the roaster oven up, and we'll do a pot on the stove as well and try and get through all these apples.
I also eat it.
Yeah. We took a bunch of apple scraps out to the cows, and they thought they were delicious. it's the end of a long, hot day in the kitchen. I had friends over today. We had an applesauce making party. Here's the applesauce for my friends, plus 3 gallons in freezer bags that one of my friends took home. And here's my applesauce for today. So it was a very successful day, but the whole house is so hot and humid, but it's worth it. Today is Wednesday, August 30th, and I am still working on all the applesauce. I had more other friends over today making applesauce with me, and that is continuing. However, I did have a couple more things that I wanted to do before the Every Bit Counts challenge is over. And so today that is going to be that hot sauce that I picked peppers for last Saturday and didn't get to that day. So I'm gonna measure out how many hot peppers I have, but I don't think I have the right amount of weight. And so I'm gonna go ahead and just add some red bell pepper. And what that will do is just kind of bring the heat down a little bit, but it still is gonna have a lot of heat and a lot of flavor. But this way, hey, I might even be interested in trying the hot sauce as opposed to just Jeremy. So I think it's gonna turn out great. I did end up using about half of it, half by weight, the sweet pepper, the bell pepper. So it was 4 ounces of hot peppers, 4 ounces of the sweet pepper, a half a teaspoon of salt, and a cup of vinegar. This is a Louisiana style hot sauce. So it is vinegar, salt, and chili peppers. The oil from the chili peppers can stay on your fingers though and get into your eyes and mouth. So I do wear gloves to work with the chili peppers. I cooked the chili peppers on the stovetop for about 10 minutes to get them softening up, and then I blended them up with the immersion blender. At this point, you can choose if you want to strain out the solids of the sauce to have a thin liquid sauce, or you can leave the solids in. I decided to leave them in. I think they look kind of pretty, and I poured them into these jars. Since this is a vinegar-based sauce, it should last in the refrigerator for a long time. So I'm gonna just store these right in the refrigerator. I did not can these to be shelf stable. Today is Thursday, August 31st. It's the last day of the Every Bit Counts challenge. I made it minus 2 days. Ended up having to skip a day, but it's our last day. I've got just a couple of plans for today. The first one is I'm gonna wipe off all my jars from yesterday and get them packed away. And then I've got the jars that my friends canned. And then so I told you what I wanted to do was make corn cob jelly. And I was working on applesauce the last couple days. I knew it. So I actually threw the corn cobs into the freezer so that they wouldn't get moldy or anything, because I didn't want to lose the opportunity to do this project. I mean, those are my homegrown cobs, right? Like, I can buy some more corn and eat it, but those are my homegrown ones. So I'm going to make corn cob jelly with those. So those are my 2 projects for today. And maybe we'll go ahead and do like a final check-in and see how my pantry's looking now that I've been canning and preserving all month. So stick around until the end and we'll do that. I let my cobs boil for about 30 to 40 minutes, and then I used a cheesecloth to strain out the solids. Then I'm going to use this corn juice liquid that I got out of here to make the jelly. I'm using Shore Gel powdered pectin, so you just stir that in and bring it to a boil, and then add all the sugar, bring it back to a boil, and let it boil for like 5 minutes. Then you pour it into the jars and process them in the water bath canner, And it makes this pretty corny yellow jelly. It's just beautiful. Thank you so much for joining me on this adventure of preserving something every day. Thanks again to Jessica of Three Rivers Homestead for hosting the challenge. And if you're new here, and I hope you'll stick around, I will be doing a lot more gardening videos this fall and videos about the animals. When it gets into winter, I do a lot more kind of handmade home things. So I hope I'll keep seeing you around.